Good evening, everybody, and welcome to PAPAtv Live. This is episode number 16. That means you've watched 15 others and you have not thrown us off the air. Thank God for that.
And we're still here.
We're still here.
We actually have never left.
It's a good point.
They actually have me chained in the booth with an ankle bracelet, and I'm not allowed to go anywhere. We have lots of cool stuff to talk about, but this is our Valentine's Day episode, and we'll get into the reasons that we've chosen certain games for that. First, let's do a couple announcements. Brian, you have something for us?
I do. We are looking for volunteers for Papa 18. We could use help in our scorekeeping. I believe we have more information available at papa.org. We compensate our volunteers, and you get a free cool T-shirt.
So you get paid, you get a T-shirt, you get to work in the coolest environment ever.
The absolutely best environment with the coolest people ever.
What's expected of scorekeepers?
You show up, I believe it's a 2-hour shift.
You show up.
2.5-hour shift, and you'll be assigned a division, and you'll assign people to a machine using a tablet software, and they'll play a game, and then you'll mark their score and put the next person on the machine.
And it should be noted that even if you volunteer to scorekeep in a division, you are still eligible to play.
Absolutely.
You can't scorekeep for a division that you are playing in. So volunteering does not preclude you from playing in Pop 18.
Let's see. Other things. This past weekend, the IFPA State Championship Series was concluded with the state championships in, what was it, 28 states?
It was over 30 states.
Over
and
30.
provinces.
Over 30.
If you count
the Canadian provinces.
the Canadians.
Canadians. I can't say that word right. Anyways, our own local championship ended with Mahesh Murthy winning the state championship, and Mahesh is joining us tonight. Hi, Mahesh.
Hello.
Welcome to PAPAtv Live.
How you doing? I just wanted to sing a song for you.
Okay.
I am the champion. I am the champion.
Where's that mute button, Doug?
John just saw our viewership drop.
Wow, that's what a spike looks like. Okay.
PA is one of the tougher states, though, to actually emerge triumphant from. We have
I'm not going to say any state's easy.
It's one of the tougher ones, is what I said. No state is easy. Every state champion is deserving of their state championship.
Illinois, California.
Wow.
Very difficult.
Every one
You
of
got that lawyer talk going on
them.
again,
Every
Doug.
one of them.
So, other big announcements. On the IFPA website, which is at www.ifpapinball.com, they have now released the standings for the new Whopper system.
Yes, Whopper version 5.0 is live.
And you won't notice a whole lot of changes up at the in the top 25, but there's going to be a lot of changes as time moves forward, and we see these new results start to, percolate and develop.
Yes, may I interrupt for a moment, John?
Yo.
I believe that one of our local players, Chris Stevens, actually cracked the top 10 in the world.
I believe he's number 10.
Yes. And I believe I also defeated said Chris Stevens in the semifinals of the Pennsylvania State Championships. In fact, I took him to 7 games.
I think that makes you number 10.
Well, then therefore
I don't think it works that way, Doug.
Doesn't that mean
actually,
that I'm...
I thought that was Whopper
In the top
5.0.
Might have to contact Josh for that.
Brian, there was another tournament this weekend. If I recall, you did pretty well in it.
I did. I won. It doesn't happen very often. It was my first win in the Pittsburgh area and my second overall win. So pretty exciting. It was a tough tournament.
You took down some tough competition. You took down the Pennsylvania State champ fell in that tournament. The West Virginia State champion fell in that
in the
tournament.
finals.
It was a fantastic tournament.
The number 10 player in the world also
The
fell to you?
aforementioned Chris Stevens. And
John fell to you.
In fact,
Chainsaw.
everyone from the Pittsburgh area who was making the trip for the IFPA tournament, I have eliminated from that tournament.
Good job, my friend.
So, Mahesh, now that you've qualified and won the state championship series, you have the opportunity to go to Vegas and play in the national championship, which is held at the same time as the 2015 IFPA Pin Masters tournament. Are you considering making the trip out west?
I'm about 90% there, so still haven't made the travel arrangements yet.
Haven't booked the flights, so to speak. Okay. But, well, I hope you go represent Pennsylvania well, and congratulations.
Yeah, we wish you the best of luck, man.
Thank you. It
I don't
be
think
fun.
you should fly. I think you should drive across the country in some type of pinball promotion thing.
All right. One other announcement we want to go over is the 2015 and 2016 Papa Tournament Circuit.
The circuit.
It will be going, the postings for it will be going live. However, I have been released the first 5 events from that circuit page, and we're Brian and I are going to go
This
down
is
that
exciting.
list.
This is really exciting.
Yeah,
Because
we're going to start off. The first event on the list, of course, is the Papa 18 World Championships held right here in this very facility. That'll be March 11th through the 15th of this year. That's coming up in a few weeks, folks. So I hope you have that on your calendars ready to rock.
That seems like a fun time. I'm looking forward to getting destroyed again. The next is the tournament we were just talking about. That's the IFPA Pin Masters, and that's going to be held March 27th through the 29th. You can get more information about that tournament and also the trade show that goes on in conjunction with it on the International Flipper Pinball Association webpage.
that's also should be noted that is a limited registration tournament. So if you want to get in on that tournament, especially now that it's been announced as a circuit event, I would get your registration in ASAP.
Are you sure about that fact, Doug, that it's a limited event?
I am about 90% positive.
All right. Well, check to make sure. I think
Do you have the chat room open? Because
yes, I do. Well, actually, not at the very moment because I have the circuit page open. Well, anyways, check and make sure. That's all I will say on that. Nothing is official until it's announced.
either way,
other
get your
than-
registration in because it's going to be awesome.
That's right. Go ahead, Brian. What's the next one?
The next one is the Michigan Pinball Expo, and the date for that is April 10th through the 12th, and that's in Rochester, Michigan.
And the fourth event is Pinball, which is located in Portland, Oregon, and that is taking place on April 19th.
I also believe that's a limited format.
Okay.
Okay, and coming up also in April in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, is Cactus Jack Silver Ball Showdown.
So that's April 24th through the 26th. You'll be able to check the information on the Papa webpage in a couple days when we have it live. But I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. And without further ado, let's bring it down to our Valentine's Day special. Now, these are Valentine's Day games because they don't get a lot of love. But this first game actually isn't. This is a well-regarded game. Well, what does this have to do with love? Well, what is it? What is the game?
We are starting off with Volley. Volley is it's a Gottlieb wedge head from 1976. It was designed by Ed. We're going to say that's Krinsky, with art by Gordon Morrison.
So they made about 2,900 of these, and I'm getting this information from the IPDB.org. And,
What's the significance of Volley and Valentine's Day?
well, I mean, have you ever played tennis, Doug?
No.
Well, then let's clear it up. If you get a point in tennis, you become 10 to love. So that's the groan I was looking for, everybody. That's the groan.
That's not a groan, that's silence.
That's hilarious.
So, just so you guys know, also, we are watching the chat room, and if you have any questions about Volley, the Papa Circuit, Doug,
Papa 18,
Papa 18,
circuit final coming
So
up.
what happens whenever you drop all 3 sets of drop targets in this game, John?
they reset.
And what are the drops worth at that point? It lights. I think it's a 500, 5,000 something.
Okay, so there's, right now, Brett's actually doing absolutely amazing. That was a nice save, by the way,
That
too.
was pretty incredible.
If you get the skill shot up at the top and you roll through the corresponding light on the top, it lights each one of those drop targets for 5,000 points for that corresponding bank. So the yellow one lights the middle bank. The left one at the top lights the left bank. The right one at the top lights the right bank.
They also light the corresponding puck bumper, don't they, John? Up at the top as
That's
well.
right. And center one's, it's hard to see with the light there, but that's actually 1,000-point pop bumper. So that can be significant points.
Oh, you went that right off the bat then.
Generally, people, they'll shoot for the yellow one
That's
first.
the skill shot.
I mean, the ideal thing, of course, is to get it through that yellow one, have it hit that a couple times, and maybe take a trip up one of the others on your first ball.
So this game has no bonus then.
That's right.
That's right.
But it is a Gottlieb wedge head. And what does that mean?
That means that tilt ends game.
That's right.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Let's try it.
So what did Brett get there? Is that
68,000, looks like.
68,000.
I need to beat 68,480, and if I do, then I'm the greatest pinball player in the world.
And if you don't, then Brett's the state champion.
No.
You know what? I will start a fundraiser to send Brett to Vegas.
Well, we've been trying to get him out of town for a long time. But
So this game is actually used. We've used it in the past in Papa Classic tournaments.
oh, this
I was about to ask that.
for a game that doesn't get any love. This game is actually a wonderful playing machine. And like it's one of my favorite wedge heads.
It is pretty nice. You get to volley the ball around the playfield. It's very appropriate.
That was a nice save.
Nice slap save.
That was pretty bad right there.
Well, there was not much you were going to do, but you made the first one. And you can do a lot of subtle things with this game. And a lot of players will actually pass the balls over to try to get a controlled shot. Because the flippers actually they're going to feel a little bit spongier, so to speak, than a modern game.
You say players will pass the ball over. Can you tap pass on this game? Tap passable?
It is tap passable, but
Ooh.
Gee, Doug, that's a big gap to tap over. That's
I wouldn't tap pass. I would be much more inclined to do an alley pass or what they call shatzing the in lane, named after famous pinball player Neil Schatz.
Famous pinball legend, Neil Schatz.
And
He's-
Bowen just said in the chat room that you need to plunge better.
I need to plunge better. Yeah, I know. I'm not
This
getting
is-
any of those.
This is a very important game where the plunge is extremely important to the outcome of your entire game.
So does Bowen say to full plunge, or where should I plunge?
Well, you should find that yourself.
Oh, come on, Bowen. give me the answer,
Nah,
please.
Bowen's not giving you that answer.
Come on.
Plunge your
please.
ball.
All right, full plunge. Ah.
And yes, there was a correction also. I said 10 love, didn't I? I actually meant 15 love, and I
Yes.
was wrong.
Yeah, it's 15 love.
15, 30, 40.
Well,
Yes.
Everybody knows that.
gosh, it's like saving money by... Oh, wait, no.
And to answer the question from the chat by Bolts, it's literally the head of the game is shaped like a wedge. So the sides are angled in from the top and bottom.
Oh, poop. I mean, not poop. Can you say poop?
Yeah, you can say...
You can get away with that one.
Poop, poop, poop. Oh, that was worthless.
Yeah, so you can actually see the shape of the cabinet in the camera setup that we have, but the cabinet's not completely square. It's actually at a slight angle, and that's why they're called wedge heads.
Oh,
The
here
head,
we
you
go.
mean.
Yeah, I know you just said that, Brian, but I just wanted to say, we can't actually show it to you.
Yeah, it's impossible to kind of show with the way we were set up here.
John just wanted to repeat exactly what you said.
But the top of the back box is wider than the bottom, so the sides that connect them are angled in.
That was a loud grunt.
Sorry.
That's okay.
That's all right.
So, are you still the state champion?
I still am the
that's an
state
80.
It would look like
champion.
Mahesh retains his title.
I'll tell you what. Let's give it one more roll. I just want to. I want to get a little more gameplay on it. It's a wonderful, wonderful machine. So, yeah,
Oh,
go ahead. You go first, Tish,
all right.
and we'll We'll get Brett up after you to see if he can redeem himself, or we're going to have to drag him in the back like we've done with Brian Dye.
Oh, it's
And
twice
Bowen,
now
you're
we've dragged him to the
absolutely
back.
correct. I stink at plunging. Ugh. If anyone out there is willing to make me a ring that looks exactly like the ring in the movie Kingpin that Munson wears, except say Pennsylvania State Pinball's champion instead of Iowa Bowling or whatever it says, please contact me. That'd be great.
Yep, you heard it here first.
Remember?
Artist wanted.
Artist wanted. That's a help wanted ad. This is actually a cry for help.
I was, yeah.
No, no.
Oh, yeah.
That's not fair.
I will say one thing I don't like about this game. I find the backlash absolutely boring on this game.
They're playing tennis. What do you expect?
I mean, I'm not going to give that backlash any love. So, no love. Otherwise, the playfield's perfect.
It's Valentine's Day. You should love that back class.
No love for that backlash.
It should have some kind of mechanical feature on it, really.
Oh, wow.
This is a little bit before that.
What do you mean
Or
before
actually,
that?
no,
This
no,
is
no,
about a
no,
little
no.
after that,
This is
actually.
after that.
That's true.
Yeah, this was 1976, and they were doing the mechanical backglasses mostly in the 60s, if I remember right.
Oh.
All right, so now Brett will get a chance to redeem himself.
Get me, Brett.
The score to beat is 23-7-30.
That score was poop.
Well, we're actually playing for whoever gets to play the next game. So if Brett manages to beat you, we're going to go to Brett's game next.
Okay.
If Brett doesn't manage to beat you, then we're going to go to Brett's game next.
So when you're playing this in a tournament
So
situation,
wait a minute, John. Okay. Sounds legit.
when you're playing this in a tournament situation, are you shooting for the drop targets, or are you just trying to get the ball up top and keep it away from the flippers?
Well, that's a really good question, Doug. Actually, the most important thing, like Bowen was alluding to in the chat room, is the plunge. You must, and I can't emphasize this enough, you must get one of those lanes on your first plunge.
Brett has learned the plunge.
And Brett has learned to plunge, and therefore Brett's going to win.
He's going to Danger Town on those targets right in the middle, too.
Yeah, it's really tough to get the ball back up over those rollovers up top.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, you have to, A, shoot it really nicely to the right or the left of those pop bumpers, and then have it bounce just right so you can get it back up top.
Yeah, it's not shaped that you can get it up there pretty easily.
Now, after you reset all the targets, after you hit all the targets down, you'll get them all back up again, and they'll still be worth 5,000 points apiece.
But all the targets have to be down for them to reset, correct?
Right. Not, all 15 of the targets. There's 5 in each bank.
Yep, looks like Brett's the Pennsylvania State Pinball
Is that due
champion.
to the mechanics of the game, John, do you think? Or Doug, would you know that answer?
I honestly do not.
Well, I mean, I would assume everything is due to the mechanics of the game. There's no circuit boards or anything.
I guess that is a good point, John. Shows you how much I know about the insides of pinball.
No, I mean, yeah. I mean, that basically you can't change that. It's not a setting that you can change. That's just
Okay.
hardwired into the game. And Brett has now reset the targets, and each target that he's hitting on the center bank and the right bank is 5,000 points.
Watch that score go up quickly.
Right. That's a lot of points. Now, the interesting thing about an electrical mechanical like this is if you were to hit 2 of those targets at once, it would still only be worth 5,000 points because it needs to take time for that relay to count around.
I did not know that, actually.
Yeah, so that's a...
Thank you.
and sorry, Jeff, we are not doing Bram Stoker's Dracula tonight. No everlasting love. Everlasting
Oh, that would have been good.
love.
Is that a song, John? Do you know the words of that one?
No. And congratulations, Brett. You are now the state champion. So, actually, what I'm going to have you guys do, why don't you guys switch the microphone and headphones?
And we're going to move over to our next game. John, what is our next game?
Our next game is Roller Coaster Tycoon. It is, let's see if I can pull it up here. It was built in 2002.
Pat Lawler designed.
Pat Lawler designed, and it's a Stern machine. And I'm trying to find it. Oh, right. There we go. That's not it. That's not it. That's it. That's it. It's, so this was one of the, is this the first pinball game that was based upon a video game?
No.
What would that be, Brian?
Super Mario World? No, Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man.
Isn't there an Operation Wolf Pinball?
Is there? I've never seen that.
But I think Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man would
Search on
predate
your
that.
IPDB there, John.
I'm just, I love throwing out little, like, whatever random question pops into my head. So, yeah, I guess this would probably be the most recent pinball machine made that was based on a video game, wouldn't it?
I think so.
But there are plenty of video games based on pinball machines.
This is probably one of the bigger selling video games of all time. I know that much.
Yeah.
Between the 3 different versions of it.
I used to play the heck out of this game.
I still do, John.
Do you still?
Absolutely. It's in my CD. Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 is in my DVD-ROM drive in my tower right now.
So, Brett, welcome to the microphone.
Why, hello, everybody.
And I guess let's talk a little bit about let's talk about why this game doesn't get much love. In a tournament situation, this game doesn't get much love because it's what we call a timeout fest. And you'll see timeout fests in...
what does that mean, John?
Okay, so
define that.
Well, in a lot of games, you'll get a particular mode or something like that going, especially with Pat Lawler games. And it seems to be more lucrative to actually just wait for the modes to end and then go on to the next mode and try to get to the final wizard mode than it is to actually complete the modes. So the wizard mode is worth a large enough amount of points that completing the modes just isn't worth it.
And how you do in the modes doesn't really affect how many points you get in that wizard mode.
So they really have no bearing on the wizard mode at all then, Brett?
Not much at all.
Okay.
The wizard mode's based on the amount of guests you have, and you can get guests just by making shots. It doesn't. You get them by completing them, doing well in the modes, but almost everything gives you guests.
Okay.
Ooh, Space Invaders. I think
that would be the first.
That would be the first, wouldn't it?
Unless there
was there a Pong pinball machine?
I don't believe so.
Well,
there was an Atarian's pinball machine.
Thank you, Zonrith, for pointing out Space Invaders. And so Brett is showing off one of the great things about Roller Coaster Tycoon, which is actually the flow of it. It was one of the few Pat Lawler designed games that I consider to have amazing flow.
Yeah, there's a lot less stoppage of the ball on this game as compared to other Lawler titles.
Right. I mean, this one, like, you can hit a whole bunch of different ramps, and it's gonna return the ball to the flipper, and you're gonna have to get.
There's just habit trails
shot.
all over this game. It's very busy, isn't it, John?
Oh, it sure is. I mean, it's sort of hard to tell with the overhead cameras, but the one yellow habit trail that comes down along the right actually goes way up into the air. That's probably...
that's almost up near the glass.
Yeah, it's right up by the glass.
And it wraps all the way down behind the flippers.
I know, that's so weird. It's a gigantic roller coaster. I wonder where they thought of that.
All right.
So another reason this game doesn't get a lot of love is the troll.
We're going to get into that. I did notice he's bouncing up there. What's the deal with that, Doug?
He's pretty much the announcer for the game. You have him and you've got the ghost, but mostly it's just the troll, and he's pretty annoying. Like, he's supposed to be a carnival barker, but it's a very nasally voice, and he's not fun to listen to at all.
He sounds like the same voice from Ripley's Believe It or Not.
I mean, maybe people just don't like, the trolls. I mean, people just generally, being that you're probably watching this on the internet right now, you would. I'm assuming you don't like trolls. I don't like trolls.
Well, I think they were trying to do much like Rudy was in Funhouse. Trying
That's a
to
good
make
point.
a character, and
A
they
lot-
just they missed the mark.
Well, just for the record, there's a lot of people out there who do not like Rudy.
Oh, who can't?
Yeah,
like
Rudy is Rudy's kind of creepy.
Yeah, Rudy's got
There's
one
no
of the,
kind of about it. Rudy's creepy.
And this machine is set up for tournament settings, so it's actually set up brutally hard.
Yes.
So we're seeing a game that Brett's very good at, but we'll see how much play it's going to decide to give him.
Also, I'm not used to the wires. I'll be honest.
That takes some getting used to, absolutely.
But we'll.
Ooh, that came back awful fast.
So I just turned up some of the volume from the game so you could hear some of these awesome sound effects and the troll
You
announcement.
could hear more troll.
More troll.
Second troll is first loser.
So why'd you drop that ball there, Brett?
Because I had not hit anything, so the playfield had yet to validate, so I could let the ball drain and take another try at plunging for the upper flipper.
So is this a thing like the 3-switch rule, or is that, or is this something completely different?
It's very similar to it. This is the first game that I ever did anything like that on, but I didn't, at the time that this game came out, I didn't know anything about a
Three-switch rule. Sure.
I just knew that, and usually I use it at the start of the ball, and I'll show it at the next ball. I'll show it right here.
I would have probably never had an appreciation for Roller Coaster Tycoon if I hadn't actually just randomly bought one.
But if you
Now,
notice,
you had yours for a while, John.
if you notice at the start of the ball, the inserts right here are moving between 3 different modes, and as long as that is happening, you are not. You have yet to validate your playfield, so you can let the ball drain, and it will go back into the trough as long as those modes are moving on their own. And that was the way I knew on this game that the ball wasn't yet in play.
All right, that's a good insight there. Thank you, Brett.
It's time to play Dunk the Dummy.
Dunk that dummy.
I've heard this in a game before, I'm sure.
Is it Bram Stoker's Dracula?
No, I don't believe that was a mode in Dracula. But I can think of 3 other games, I think, that had a dummy.
Well, what are they? Don't leave us hanging.
Oh, it would be Comet, Cyclone, and Hurricane. What a trilogy of games.
So do you think the dummy was a homage to that, or was it just a little bit of, this is what you're going to get in an amusement park?
I think that that was definite homage to the amusement park pinball machines that have come before this.
So what's the objective once you start the main multi-ball here?
So the 2 ramps in the middle are lit for jackpot. If you collects all the jackpots, he will light the super jackpot from the upper flipper. And he's missing that a little bit early. He's back in the L1 pose. Okay, he separates out. Let's see if that'll come over to the right for him. Oh, that worked out nice.
Beautiful. That never happens for me.
No. He's having a little bit of trouble with that right ramp. And a little jailbreak, but that was necessary because things got out of control. Oh my, that middle target's absorbing all the shots he takes up there.
Nope.
And to answer the chat room, we will have Brian tell a little bit of his story about Sunday's tournament in a little bit. But
I
first
thought I went into that at the beginning of the show, John.
Well, I mean, you got to share your, I don't know,
My moment of glory, it's already over.
Actually, I have something to share from that in a little bit.
Okay.
But we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
I blinked. I lost track of where the ball was for a split second here. He looks like Brett picked up an extra ball along the way. Brett, how did you qualify that extra ball?
That was through guests.
I had a certain number of guests lights extra ball.
Yes, and it varies from game to game, and it adjusts based on how many times it's been done.
Oh, so it's random, kind of.
I'd like to say thank you to Tish Poop for saying that I have a golden voice.
You do, John.
Thank God something of me is coated in gold.
Everybody knows that.
Awesome. Cotton candy.
I used to really hate the cotton candy stands in the actual video game. I don't know why they made me mad, but I just didn't think that people should have to actually pay for
They
the
look
cotton
like
candy.
ghost stalls in the
Yeah,
game.
that's right. It's like they didn't look like anything to do with cotton candy. They looked like something that was just poorly built and
It was
meant
the-
to take your money.
They're little puffs of cotton candy.
All of the food stands, though, had the shape of the food they were selling, which is up good until the hot dog stand, I guess.
So, Brett, normally, am I correct in saying you would actually time this out if we weren't?
Unless I was very close to multi-ball, yeah, I would have timed it out.
Okay. I mean,
Because
just,
boo-back time in multi-ball can add a lot of points.
all right. So, I mean, Brett's actually playing some of these modes out to keep you more entertained rather than timing them out like you would in a tournament situation.
How do you start a mode in this game?
All right. First, you have to light fun, which I believe is already lit. Is that correct? Yeah.
It's time to play.
And then you make the shot just like you did up through where the drop targets are. And in order to light fun, you have to stay at the center ramp, though. That's the first part of that process.
And the really interesting thing is when you start the mode, you're actually hitting the back of the drop target on the right orbit.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that was a very unique use of a drop.
Which is also the skill shot on the plunge. You could start a mode right off the plunge.
Well, actually, it's not the skill shot, though. The skill shot is lower down on the plunger.
Yeah, you're right. That would be into the snack bar holder.
Right, that's right. So, but most players actually prefer to start a mode off the plunge rather than go for that actual skill shot.
As Brett was mentioning before, the mode scrambles between each one. There's a mode called Power Ride, which is a 2-ball multi-ball.
And if anybody's also had a bad Halloween experience, you might remember tossing your cookies. Not Halloween, I mean Valentine's Day. Gosh, what episode is this?
This is episode 16, John.
Well, then I was thinking back to episode number, I don't know.
This is episode 16, whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Shoot again.
There's another extra ball.
Yeah, nothing wrong with a
That's
few
the-
extra balls. All right, so Brett has one more mode, which he just started.
Super Dunk.
It's time to play.
And this mode is horrible.
Everybody dance.
But
Look at the high value there, 75,000 for a shot.
So
Come
it
on,
looks
John.
looks like Brett's pretty close to finishing out the modes.
right, so Brett, why don't you make sure that you get to the wizard mode on this game because you're having a great game.
All right. Well, in that case, I would time out this mode.
Well, then for once we'll actually say time out this mode.
I'm out this
All
mode.
right.
For once on PAPAtv, we will encourage the timing out of a
And
mode.
while we're timing out this mode, Brian, tell us your
Tell us your
story.
story.
You got
My
30
story?
seconds. Go.
I won a tournament. I beat John. I beat Chris Stevens. I beat Mahesh. It was a blast. I love playing with all these guys.
What do you think?
I learned something every time I play in a tournament with these guys, and this time I just got the upper hand.
So my story was actually a little more interesting. I lost, and I feel like I had a really awesome pinball dilemma. I love playing what is called the thinking game behind pinball. Like I'm saying, like when I walk up to a ball and I say, oh, I'm down by X, I want to know what to do. So I walked up to ball 3, and this is the game where I was eliminated from the Survivor format, and I was on Whitewater, and I was down by 45 million points.
There it is.
Now, we'll get back to my story. First, we're going to do Roller Coaster Park Tycoon.
Oh, he's got everything lit.
Let's get a couple rocket collects. Boom! All that rejected out of the rocket collect. Now he can, if he uses his plunges smart, he can actually plunge so he can do a short shot right into that rocket.
So what's the objective here in the wizard mode?
Collect jackpots.
Actually, I mean, you actually want to get guests.
Actually, what I want to do is get 6x, theoretically.
Okay.
That's one of the things you can do. If you're not, if you're playing just with extra balls on.
Oh, so you're just going to sit there and plunge for that
It's
those
something you can
multipliers. That's pretty neat.
I mean, so you let a couple balls drain. You actually have to plunge yourself because it doesn't always make it around.
Okay.
So this is an unlimited multi-ball for
Yes.
a set period of time.
For the next 20 seconds.
So rather than go for the jackpots, you're more interested in just getting the multipliers.
Because, sort of. Because you can really only get one super.
All right.
Come on.
Yeah, but that's a lot of points. Each one of those is 731,000 points. That's a lot for a game.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I...
And there's the super. And I got the super, I think.
So you only ended up getting 3 of the regular jackpots, though, right?
Yes.
So I don't know. I don't know if I can justify going for the multipliers when that many points are on the line. I mean, even with the possibility of an extra ball.
No, I wasn't doing it quite right because if you're going to do it, you have to commit to it.
Okay. So you didn't
So
commit.
no, I was just doing a little bit of both. Just to show
This is the Valentine's Day episode, Brett. You're going to have to show some commitment.
There's some heartbreak on the drain right there.
I like that one.
I did miss everything. Because as you see, bonus is worth nothing.
That was, I mean, I don't even know what else we need to show on the game. You actually really, you blew it right out of the park on this first game.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
as
pretty much it.
expected. As expected.
The only other thing that I didn't really show was if I would have completed that one more time, the various concession stands. The last one is also an extra ball. It's the sushi stand. And you can get that either by completing there's 3 stand-ups that spell eat, or if it's coming out of the pops, if you make it into the hole, it'll award you one of the stands for free.
Just for the record, amusement park sushi stands.
I was just about to ask you,
I
John,
mean,
have
like-
you ever had sushi at an amusement park?
It's sort of like the gas station sushi.
I-
You avoid it
I
at all costs.
I believe, and Brian can answer this one, that is a roller coaster tycoon thing.
Yes, there is a sushi stand in the game that you could build in your amusement park.
Right. I mean,
And
but
that's where that little graphic comes from.
it was Roller Coaster designed by Roller Coaster Tycoon. Was that designed by a U.S. Designer? Or?
No, it was designed by a UK designer named Chris Sawyer, I believe.
Okay, so they really liked sushi or something.
I don't know. Is that just an idea of a stand to put in the park, John, maybe?
And Brett, we'd like to thank you for appearing on PAPAtv. Thank you for making the time.
My pleasure. Anytime.
And anything final you want to say before we kick you off the mic?
No, I personally love Roller Coaster Tycoon because it's a fun game to play. It's an easier game to play if you're a beginner. You can step right up and have some fun with it. There aren't a whole lot of rules to it. That's why.
So it gets a bad rap, but it deserves a little more love than it gets.
It absolutely does. I mean, what you guys said with the modes is true. But
Right.
it's still a fun game if you want to play it, just to play it and not to try to just get the best score you possibly can.
I completely agree.
It's a lot of fun to play.
All right, so the next game we're going to move to.
The next game we are going to play is No Fear Dangerous Sports.
Also, unfortunately, No Fear has a nickname. A nickname in the pinball community, and it's No Fun. It doesn't get much love because of that nickname.
I have
Doesn't
another
get much
nickname.
love because of the nickname or because of the gameplay.
I have another nickname for this game, John.
What's that?
Right Flipper.
Right, Flipper. That's a very fair nickname as well. We're going to actually mic up our Pennsylvania State champion again, Mahesh Murthy. And he will take us through how he plays No Fear. Good grief, there's a lot of glare on that.
There is.
Did I miss the glare-free glass on that one?
I do not believe we put glare free in that.
Hang
Certainly
on.
looks that way.
You know what? Hang on a second. I'm going to go do that right away.
We're going to
because
fix this right
Alrighty,
now,
alright.
folks.
So while
Right.
John's doing that, Mahesh, when you first step up to No Fear, what are your goals?
Definitely, I want to get to the final 3 modes of this game as quickly as I possibly can. Typically, I guess in a tournament situation, I'd time out the modes. I would do it, I think. I'm not sure. Depends on how I'm feeling. that
We would
day.
like to see the modes kind of being played here today, Mahesh.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to play it.
So this is a game much like Roller Coaster Tycoon, where you can just start the mode and time it out, and then start the next one and time it out.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes. Until you get to the final 3, you can start each one after you complete.
Can you
the
speak
one
up
where you-
just a hair into the microphone there, Mahesh?
Maybe I should readjust this thing. How's that?
That's a little better.
How about now?
That's a little better. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. The headphone mic is very sensitive, so
No, the reason why I picked this game, when I first started playing sort of competitively, I joined League and I met Al Tomka in this area. And he had one of these machines in his basement.
He still
and-
does.
Yes, he still does. I think that I still have the grand champion score on his machine. And he's been trying for years to get that grand champion score off. He still can't get it.
What is that score?
I think it's around 18 billion.
What's
18
the
billion.
Grand Champ score on this game here?
35 billion by Keith.
Keith.
That Keith guy, he's
Keith
good.
guy.
Keith guy. Keith
He's
guy.
got a couple banners.
Yeah, he might have some banners in this building.
I want to make him go camping.
As a matter of fact, I think I remember watching some of Keith's game on this, and I think he actually was flipping with the upper flipper, going around, and taking a drink with his left hand.
It was during
Yeah.
Pinburg, wasn't it?
That's showing off. That's what I call that. So you can hold down the extra ball button here. Oh, I can't get it. Too late. But if you have that extra ball button depressed as you hit the skydive, you'll get a 50 million award.
that's not all you get, is it?
Right. You also get something else.
And then if you could keep doing this over and over again, you get a lot of points.
And those jumps go into your bonus. And
That's
they
right.
count every
Yes.
ball.
Yes. So the jumps are very important. And if I can get to the last mode, I'll show you
How important they are, right? At 200 million per shot.
Yes.
So this game was designed by Steve Ritchie.
This game was designed by Steve Ritchie.
He's actually the voice of the skull in this game. In the upper right-hand part of the screen, you see the talking skull, and that's actually voiced by the designer Steve Ritchie.
And there was 4,540 of these machines made in 1995, which I just knew that off the top of my head. I didn't have to consult the IPDP for it. Right.
What really struck me about this game when it first came out was the distinct lack of pop bumpers.
It's a really,
You also want to get that kickback lid.
it's a really open playfield design, which is very typical of Steve Ritchie designed games.
It really is a pure fan design.
And
Like every shot comes back around. with the exception of the locked shot for multi-ball.
So I'm sure most people listening already know this, but always go for the start challenge on the launch.
Why?
Because you want to progress through all the challenges to get to the final 3.
Okay. So would you normally play this mode out in competition? Or is this one you would?
No, I would go for the shot here, because if you're feeling it, you might as well just get it out of the way.
Okay.
Pick up the quick points and go on to the next mode.
Yeah, that ends the mode right there. So
One shot, the mode's over. Now it's lit at the skull again for his next mode. Oh, but
So I have
wait.
this payback time going, which locks you out of the starting another mode.
And locks you into getting 25 million per shot.
But you want to get this going with multi-balls. That's where big points
payback
are.
time borrowed from another Steve Ritchie game.
I wonder which one that might be.
Doug?
Firepower.
Wrong.
No, it's Terminator. T2.
I'd say going through, we haven't had too many Steve Ritchie games on PAPAtv Live, but he is probably my favorite designer of all time.
I would have to agree with you, John. He's one of my favorites as well. I could literally play high speed all day.
High speed,
F-14 Tomcat.
Spider-Man, AC/DC, just in firepower.
Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Star Trek Next Gen and the Stern
and
version.
the new Stern version. So, I mean, yeah, these are games that,
Oh,
yeah, close to half my pinball collection was designed by Steve Ritchie. That's pretty
not a
scary.
bad thing at all.
No, it's not.
Why do you think that is, John? What is it about a Steve Ritchie game that appeals to you?
You know, I've actually sat down and tried to think that out, and I don't really know. I mean, I do like the openness of his designs, but
hey! I didn't do anything.
Living on the edge.
The Marushka.
yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy Steve Ritchie games for the speed of the games. Like he always tends to have a lot of shots that come right back at you, or loops with upper flippers. He's really big with. There isn't a lot of stop and wait for things to happen. It's constantly something happening in a lot of Steve Ritchie games.
So
Much like what Mahesh is doing right now, these games are very explosive.
I think this game gets a lot more love than Roller Coaster Tycoon does, but I actually like Roller Coaster Tycoon better than No Fear Dangerous Sports.
I'm actually a big fan of No Fear. I really enjoy playing this game more so than Roller Coaster Tycoon.
I also enjoy playing No Fear slightly more than Roller Coaster Tycoon. That was a nice game. That was a good start.
You have No Fear. That's a good start, though. We're going to give it another shot and see if we can get you to No Limits.
All right, I'll try one more time here.
Alrighty.
And so a little less concentration on the jumping and a little more on the modes, right?
Yep.
All right, cool. So anyways, while Mahesh is starting up a second game, let me continue the story I started earlier. I was playing Whitewater, and it was an elimination game. I needed to catch the second place player who actually had 45 million points more than me. I had no kickback. Whirlpool Challenge was not available. So I had one lock done and one of the targets towards my second lock. I knew I could get away with one big move on the game. So I walked up to the game and I said, okay, I could try to just shoot the ramp over and over for the millions plus, which you can get by hitting the left ramp over and over on Whitewater. Or I can, just pays my money and takes my chances by going for the multi-ball. Wow,
Nice
what
save,
a
Mahesh.
save.
Jeez.
So now that Mahesh has moved it to a different zip code,
We are now live from Bridgeville, PA.
it's a little south of where it was.
Sorry.
So I decided that I was going to go for the multi-ball. I knew I could get away with one move. So the first shot I took was directly at that light lock target, which immediately returned the ball directly towards the center of the playfield. Double danger save. I make the save, get the ball cradled. And at this point, here's the metagame. What do you do? You know, I'm sitting there with the ball in my flipper. I'm like, oh, I've used my dangers. I don't have anything left. I can't move the machine at all. But now I have both locks lit. I was like, well, I know I'm accurate on the no way out shot, which is where you lock the ball at. So I took that lock. But before I plunged, I sat there thinking for a long time, what am I going to do? You know, like, so I decided, in for a penny, in for a pound, I'm going to take another shot. My next shot, I hit the lock target, and sure enough, that thing came screaming right back down the center again, and that was the end. The interesting thing to think about is, what would you have done different if you were playing and you were down by 45 million on a whitewater game? You had no kickback. Your Whirlpool challenge was already done. What would you have done differently? So that's something I just want people to think about.
I would probably go for the ramp. I'd go for the left ramp and try and loop that.
I would go for either ramp millions or go for the advanced raft shots.
Yeah, that's a good point too. If you had an
Those
advanced
millions add up.
raft that wasn't a tough one to hit.
That's actually that's actually useful information that I didn't give to you. The only shot I had available for advanced raft was the Boulder Garden.
And that's the one that you generally don't want to shoot.
You don't want to shoot for. It's a difficult shot.
So that does make it tough. Those lock targets on whitewater can be insta-death.
Absolutely.
Now, Chris was watching, and I told him my reasoning, behind what I was doing, because he was already eliminated at that point, but he was curious to see what I would decide. And he said he would have done it differently. He would have immediately gone for the kickback. And I can respect that decision.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's more of a long-term play. You try and get that kickback lit to try some more dangerous stuff, but shooting the kickback targets obviously are a dangerous shot
as well. Maybe they're not as dangerous as shooting the lock targets.
Probably not, no. But you're definitely introducing that side-to-side ball movement that you're usually trying to avoid.
So why do we try to we talk about side-to-side ball movement a lot? Why do we try to avoid that?
Oh, boy. That sucked.
The side-to-side is usually the one that you can influence the least.
And the side-to-side is most likely to take you to the out lanes, where it's a rare challenge and it takes a good nudge to save the ball, if it's savable. There are some that I believe you just cannot save, no matter how big of a move you would make.
Just say goodbye.
Yeah, just bye. TX Sector calls it a power drain, and that term is pretty accurate.
And Bowen chimed in the chat and says that he does not shoot the kickback targets unless he's already got 2 of the 3 already lit. In my case, I had 0 out of 3 lit. So
did that even come on your radar then, John, to shoot the kickback at the time?
It certainly entered into my thought process. I was like, so when you hit the lock targets, and some people also would say, if you didn't know how that whitewater was playing, you would say, oh, you want to graze the lock targets.
You could not graze the lock
No,
targets.
you had to really hit those dead on.
Yeah, they had to be straight on hits. Otherwise, A, they wouldn't register, and B, if you did graze them, it would rattle around in the no way out and just drop it right down the center anyways. So I didn't have the option of grazing it.
The games at that tournament were set up very well.
Yeah, I felt they played pretty fairly.
The multi-ball, to answer,
Says the winner.
Super Magic Land says, is the multi-ball on No Fear not worth it? Mahesh, you want to chime in on this one?
You know what? It is worth it, but the third mode is so lucrative. The third wizard mode is so lucrative, and you should be able to get to it. I mean,
3
especially
wizard modes.
you should. It's very attainable.
Are there many games with multiple wizard modes?
Well,
But
sure.
in a tournament situation, and you need the points, go for the multi-ball.
Right.
It's just that lock targets, sometimes a little, it might give you a bad bounce and go to the out lane.
I guess it's one of those situations where you're thinking about what your ultimate goal is. If you're playing in match play where you're playing against other players, that multi-ball is extremely valuable. Mm-hmm. If you're playing in a high-score tournament where you're going for the highest score possible on multiple attempts, the strategy Mahesh is using right now is much more lucrative in the end game.
That or another strategy that people will do on this game which depending on how easy the jump is, some people will just go jump, 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 because it does add to your bonus and it carries over every
Yeah,
ball.
on this one, the way that it's playing, it sets you up real slow with that loop shot, and it's not too difficult when it's set up like this.
Right.
To just consistently hit shot after shot and build your bonus and do nothing but, which
That
I
would be
kind of
an
did on the first game.
Right. That would be an example of the no fun.
Right.
Now, I've played a No Fear before, John, where you were able to keep just repeating the ramp and not flipping when it comes by the upper flipper, shooting it right back up the ramp, and you would still get credit for the jump.
Right. So I think this is one of those. Doug can probably explain this better, but if you don't activate the jump after a certain number of, is it shots or balls, Doug?
I
It'll
would
actually
think it's
start
timed
giving
in
it to
the
you.
software, and I think there's a switch that indicates whether the jump ramp was made or not. Perhaps on that one you were playing, Brian, the software had compensated for a broken switch.
No, possibly. It's just,
I don't honestly remember. It's probably been 5 years since I took a No Fear apart, but I'm pretty sure there's a made switch up there.
okay. Just something I remember that was pretty exploitable, especially when you get to meet your maker or whatnot.
Well, this time Mahesh got an extra ball, so I'd say it's looking fairly strong that he's going to get to some of the wizard modes on this game.
Good. He's got about 15 seconds left.
Am I
here of
allowed
the
to go for
air
the shot,
mode.
John, or is it too boring?
Oh, go.
Oh,
Oh, that's what you get for talking smack to John.
oh man. I can't help talking smack to you. John lures me in competition by being all nice. And then I don't get, pissed at him and get charged up to beat him.
That's
He
actually
knows what he's doing.
That's actually John's
He's very
psychological
deceptive.
trick that he plays on everybody at any tournament
Yes,
he's ever
exactly.
been to.
Yeah.
Don't believe him.
Yeah.
Crush him.
I did.
Oh my goodness, that stinks.
You better stop worrying about me, dude, and worry
right,
about
all
making
right,
that
all right.
start challenge shot.
Let's see if I can get it. Jeez Louise.
You big sausage. Come on.
So he actually has the first of the 3 super modes lit right now.
All right, so what happens in No Limit?
Everything is lit. And you hear it?
Oh, add a
Add
million.
a million. It starts out at 20.
Now, unfortunately, I believe that there is actually a limit to no limits. Funny enough.
Which is sort of, that's not fair.
No, you can keep going, man. Forever.
Yeah, but it caps out.
The score you can achieve caps out, though, Mahesh. So there is a limit to no limit.
Oh, there is. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even realize that. Okay. What does it cap out at?
No idea,
50.
but I remember it capping out.
I thought it was 50.
You might be right, John.
It's been a while since I've played. Wow, that was a nice.
That was
nice
pretty
slap
incredible.
Nice slap save.
That was
Now-
crappy.
The other challenging thing is
Up
that
and
his
over.
start mode will not be lit at the end of this mode.
Mahesh is showing
Or
us
is
both
it?
what to do, and
I thought you had to qualify the next mode.
you
Yeah,
do.
you do.
Okay.
So you need to spell
No fear?
no fear. And there we go. He's
This is how
spelling
you
it
want
now.
to do it.
Yeah, that's
Up
the best
top.
way to do it.
Use the jump. And there you go.
It's lit. He's going to keep jumping because why not?
Because that's the points.
And now he's going to pass it over and a little shot to the mode start.
Whoa, that was to that
And-
inner loop around
and
the
there
skull.
it is. So this is the Fear Fest. And he also happened to start the outer loop hurry up mode, which
But I don't care about that.
Right. I mean, all he cares about is getting jackpots.
90,000 jackpots, and he's hitting them over and over again.
90 million.
90 million. Thank you, Doug.
I don't know. Kind of like. All right, come on, stay there. Yeah.
No fear at all.
Now we're set up. Oh, come on, come on.
And
Ready for boring time? Oh, I jinxed myself again.
That's it.
Welcome to Papa TV, Mahesh.
This game doesn't get a whole lot of love, but it's getting a whole lot of right flipper usage.
Like I said, this game could be called Right Flipper.
This is one of those games where you could just sit the left flipper in a pass-over position and lock it down, and you could probably still put a couple billion on it.
Oh, I sense a mini game.
I think we should put a 2-inch flipper.
It could be a Papa mini tournament.
Wasn't there one? Was it a Spider-Man?
We did it with Spider-Man, which is another Steve Ritchie game. We disabled the left flipper, so basically all you could do was pass it over. It was horizontal like Mahesh's left flipper is right now, so you could pass it over with momentum or dead bounce it, and the only flipper you had to use was your right flipper.
So he's up to 100 million every time he scores a jackpot, which is though only only every 4 shots. Mm-hmm. So it comes out to 25 million per shot, which actually is not nearly as many points as the next mode is.
No, the scoring on the
Meet
next
Your Maker.
mode. Hopefully he'll get there to show us all.
So now you'll see here too, though, immediately after he drained and used his kickback, Mahesh is trying to light that kickback.
So yeah, which is actually really smart if he's looking to advance to the next mode.
Especially while you're still in multi-ball.
Okay, now he's in payback time again.
And so this is actually one of those situations where it's like, well,
Yeah, this stinks.
yeah, this is not what you want, but you're willing to just sit up there and jump for the next 20 seconds, which is cool. Jump.
Uh-oh.
Whoa,
No, no!
Whoa, whoa.
Ooh.
So, unfortunately, that will be the end of our time on No Fear. And it'll actually bring up the end of the broadcast. But before we do, Mahesh, would you be willing to give us a little Howard Cosell?
Here we are, Carnegie, Pennsylvania, at the Papa headquarters. We have the mighty John Replogle, a once proud champion, now his arm chainsawed in an accident. Unable to play, yet his bravery was shown at New Great Valley Lanes 2 months ago as he defeated all the competitors with a chainsawed hand. And we all felt stupid.
Thank you, Howard.
Well played.
Thank you.
Anyways, from all of us here at Papa TV, Doug Polka, who's running the booth tonight, Brian Tessier, myself, John Raplogle, Brett Berkman, and Mahesh Murthy,
Love you, Amy.
we'd like to thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to the next episode, which will be next week. We will have spoilers next week. Papa spoilers. And
Papa spoilers
lots of
on the
them.
frontier.
Lots of them. So until then, happy flipping.
Good night, everybody.